What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And I know what you must be thinking. Who is this guy? Who is this guy in front of my screen right now? That's not the guy I recognize, as of late from this video, from videos. Does the line change have a new host or something? No, it's still me. Yes, I shaved my beard off and kept the mustache. So I'm definitely feeling 5 to 10 years younger than I am. I figured it was time for a change. I hadn't shaved in, I want to say since maybe December. So that is the reason for the fresh new look. But in this video in particular, we're going to be going over some Canucks updates. Originally, I was going to do 2 separate videos, but I figured why not just, blend them together. The first topic we're going to be discussing is Rick Tocchet and his future. I stumbled upon an article talking about his future and that him and the Canucks could make a decision make a decision on his contract as soon as, the playoffs starting or as soon as the end of the season. So let's go ahead and go over this article in regards to Rick Tocchet. The headline is Friedman, Tocchet's decision with Canucks should come quickly. So this is a report from Elliotte Friedman. I'll leave a link to the article in the description down below, as always. But this is coming from our friends at Canucks Army, an article written by Scott Maxwell. And it goes as follows. Amidst the many different storylines that surround the Vancouver Canucks as they enter the offseason after a disappointing 24-25 campaign, Rick Tocchet's status as head coach beyond the season is one of the biggest ones. Tocchet finds himself at the conclusion of his 3-year contract with the Canucks, and while there's a team option to extend it for an additional year, there is still some uncertainty over whether or not he will return next season. But according to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman on Saturday Night Headlines, the decision on Tocchet isn't expected to linger into the summer. And he goes on to quote Rick Tocchet, "The one thing I do believe is nobody, not Tocchet, not the Canucks, want this to drag after the end of the season, too long into the summer. I think you're going to see this will come down pretty quickly at the end of the season. I think both sides want to make sure that everybody knows where they're going and what's happening so that they can get on with the rest of their plans in the summer." Based on Friedman's report, it appears that the Canucks will probably make a decision on Tocchet before the playoffs are done and possibly even within the first round or 2. The uncertainty with the status of Tocchet is largely due to the disappointing 24-25 season that saw the Canucks miss the postseason after winning the Pacific Division in the prior season. However, considering all of the injuries the team has had to deal with, the underperformance from top players, and the well-documented dysfunction in the locker room between Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, it's hard to fully put the blame on Tocchet, especially after he won the Jack Adams Award in 2024. Tocchet is currently in his 3rd season with the Canucks, coaching them to a 107, 64, and 26 record and 197 games prior to Saturday's matchup against the Minnesota Wild. So this article is from Saturday. So technically they are 108 and 65 108, 64 and 27. Along with a 7-6 record in the postseason and a series win, Tocchet is currently the second most winningest coach in Canucks history after Alain Vigneault. Now, that last little bit is, I actually did not know that he is the second winningest coach in Canucks franchise history. And, that is quite the spot to be in if you're Rick Tocchet. Obviously, Alain Vigneault took this team to the Stanley Cup Finals back in 2011 and gave them their best chance of winning the Stanley Cup, at least I feel, in my opinion. But the fact that he's the second winningest just shows you how good of a coach Rick Tocchet is. And I do fully think that Rick Tocchet will be back next season coaching this Vancouver Canucks team. I've never doubted that he would not come back, as I feel like this year was just a write-off, especially when it comes to EP40. They struggled with injuries this season. Obviously the drama with JT and Elias. I think a full season without those distractions will be better for the Canucks next season. I would not be surprised if by next week the Canucks and Rick Tocchet reach a decision or a contract. I'm not 100% sure what the term would be. I would say maybe 3, maybe 4 years. I do know that this contract will have term to it, and that's what they've been adamant about. So I could see a 3 or 4 year extension. As far as money, I don't know. I do know it'll probably be under 5, as I believe it's Mike Sullivan is the highest paid coach in the league right now, and he's making, I think, 5 or just a little more than 5. And I don't think Rick Tocchet is quite there yet when it comes to making that kind of money, as Mike Sullivan, of course, has a Stanley Cup championship to his coaching. At least as a coach, Rick Tocchet does not have that. So I could see maybe Rick Tocchet making 4, maybe 4.5, or maybe even 3. That's my prediction for Rick Tocchet's next contract. I think it could be a 3 or 4 year deal at maybe between 3 and maybe 4.5 million. But before we get into the second article, let me just quickly do my sponsor read, and then we'll dive right into the second article, which is about Tom Willander and a signing update for the Canucks' defensive prospect. So let's go ahead and do my sponsor read. Are you looking for an energy drink that is jitter-free, crash-free, no sugars, no artificial colors or dyes, and no calories? Then Dubby Energy is for you. With over 15 plus unique custom-made flavors, go ahead and get a starter sampler pack, which includes 3 different flavors. Use code TheLineChange to get 10% off your next purchase. Dubby Energy, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. All right, so this next article, let's bring it up. The headline is Canucks and Tom Willander have entry-level contract in place for 25-26 season. It is a report. Once again, it is from our friends at Canucks Army. It's an article written by Tyson Cole. This came out late last night. It does have an update, as the original article was a report from Frank Cervelli of Daily Faceoff saying, hearing Canucks and 2023 first-round pick Tom Willander have an agreement in place on an entry-level deal that begins in the 25-26 season. Not entirely clear when deal will be announced, but he's turning pro. Willander is back on campus, finishing out the semester, and then Cervelli would provide an update, basically saying he'd like to amend this. It was premature to say that the two sides have an agreement in place tonight. However, sources are very confident that this will end with an agreement that begins in 25-26. So essentially, Frank Cervelli kind of jumped the gun a little bit on this. And I've seen, at least today anyway, he's been getting a bit of flack. He obviously spoiled the Logan Couture announcement on him having to retire due to injury. A lot of people were giving him flack online for that. But yeah, essentially, this article is, basically Tom Willander will not join the Abbotsford Canucks for their playoff run, as he wants to finish his semester at BU. Seems like a logical thing to do for the youngster. Shows, he's a attuned student. But let's quickly read this. Says the news comes 2 days after the Boston University Terriers lost their Frozen Four championship game against Western Michigan by a score of 6-2. Willander would be held pointless in the match, but registered an assist in each of the first 3 games of the tournament, including an assist on fellow Canucks prospect Aiden Celebrini's game-winning goal in the first 2 minutes of the third period. Speaking of Aiden Celebrini, the brother of Macklin, he has decided to spend another year at BU, so he won't be signing with the Canucks next season, perhaps the season after. But continuing, after the Frozen Four, Willander returned to Boston University instead of signing immediately and joining the Vancouver Canucks for their remaining 2 games and then Abbotsford for their playoff run. Instead, Willander will finish his semester at BU and join the Canucks organization starting in the 25-26 season. Willander will now have 3 full seasons of his entry-level contract to build his resume at the professional ranks and hope for a bigger payday come his time for a contract extension. Now, obviously, if he had signed with the Canucks directly after the Frozen Four, that would have burned a year off his ELC, which means he would have only had 2 seasons before his contract would come up. So at least with the Canucks not signing him immediately, that means he has a full 3 years to develop and whatnot. And yeah, essentially, if he would have signed right away, he would have burned one of those years. So that appears to be a good move on both parties' part, as you really don't want to risk burning a year off his ELC. During his 2 years at BU, the former first-round pick scored 6 goals and 43 assists for 49 points in 77 games. Willander also represented Team Sweden at the World Junior Championships the past 2 seasons, where he scored 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points in his 14 games. He would finish with a +12 rating and a silver medal in 2024. A teammate of Willander and brother of Lane and Cole, Quinn Hudson, signed an entry-level contract as a college free agent with the Edmonton Oilers and is making his NHL debut Monday night, while Celebrini chose to return to BU next season. While the Abbotsford Canucks are priming for what is hopeful to be a lengthy playoff run, Willander reportedly won't be joining the Canucks ranks until the 25-26 season after he finishes his current school semester. So yeah, Willander will likely sign after the school semester is over and done with for next season. Obviously, it sucks that he won't be a part of the Abbotsford Canucks playoff run, but at the same time, I understand it was a personal choice for him to at least go back to school and finish his semester. And so he will for sure hopefully be starting next season with Abbotsford. And of course, there's a chance he could get called up to the Canucks during the season. But that's the signing update for Tom Willander, as well as an update on Rick Tocchet's coaching future, the Canucks. And as always, be sure, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. That way you stay up to date on all your Canucks related news and content. And of course, you can find us on social media, on X at LineChangeVan, on Facebook, just simply search The Line Change, on Instagram at The Line Change. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.